Any issues that could not make the agenda, could not be put on in time, but are important enough that we need to hear about them between now and our next meeting. Is there any unscheduled communication? Sir, if you'd please come up and state your name.
For the record, my name is John Turney, T-U-R-N-E-Y. I'm not going to read through all this. Commissioner Flores isn't here today because she's at the American County Platform and Resolutions Conference. Is that correct?
No, she's at an NMAC advisory board meeting.
NMAC. Okay, good. Get right to my statement. I thank the board for their time, and I'd like to proceed under what I would call my First Amendment rights to speak about things which have been bothering me, which I would like to address at the county. Imagine you live in a country, 300 million people or more, where 95 million people were outside the workforce, and those are the latest numbers. Imagine a country that has lost control of its borders, and low-paying jobs are going to unskilled workers regardless of citizenship, green card, whatever. Imagine being in a country that is in a malaise, and imagine you live in a state that is generally worse off than most in terms of economics, ranking in the high 40s in most of the important categories. Then imagine you live in one of those so-called red counties in this state, which Otero County is one. Red state being defined as generally votes Republican. Blue states or counties generally vote Democrat. So I'm using those terms as the media does now. And in this red county, we the people generally and consistently and repeatedly vote for Republicans for federal, state, and local elections. We have one of Mr. Pierce's representatives here. He's received many, many votes, Republican votes, from this red county. Now imagine those local Republicans raising taxes every time they've had the opportunity since 2012. So much so that by the end of the summer, I think the windfall of the gross receipt hold harmless capacity will be all passed by the county and the city for that matter. I think they're maxed out. Well, you don't have to imagine that you live in that county or country. You're here. The webpage of the Otero County Republican Party espouses lower taxes, and that higher taxes hurt economies, and that is confirmed by William McBride of the Tax Foundation and his documents that show the negative effects of higher taxes on economies. The Republican Party of Otero County's website spends a lot of time on Ronald Reagan's presidency and how the economy grew under supply-side economics. And didn't mention the Laffer curve, but the Laffer curve generally says the lower the taxes, as long as you have a certain amount of taxes, the revenues will go up. Lower taxes means higher revenues to government. Yet this county commission over the last 8 years seems to think if you raise taxes, you're going to get more money. On the Keynesian model, where you raise taxes, of course the economy is going to be flat. It's not a dynamic economy. So more taxes equals more tax revenues for the governments to spend. And we'll have a good old time because the economy will grow just as it would under lower taxes. And that's a fallacy and error. The last couple of weeks and months, we've heard that the local judiciary, the leaders there, are not pleased with the facilities of the working people this county provides them. That the 50-year-old courthouse is now of little worth and cannot be rehabilitated in any useful way. However, no experts, no reports, no evidence is offered. Only anecdotal tales of problems are given full weight to the county's commission. The county commission seems to give them full weight as though it were sworn testimony.
Mr. Attorney, let me interject something to you. So your statement will be true and correct. You're wrong. We've had architects go there and look at it to remodel it, and their answer to us in writing is tear it down and build a new one. So don't say we haven't done our homework. You're wrong. Go ahead.
Thank you for the interruption.
You're welcome.
My information based on Inspection of Public Records Acts is that these reports and inspections were not released and therefore not there. Where they are, I don't know. So maybe Commissioner Reardon, you would consider that you may be wrong here. However, anecdotal tales, if any of those judges had brought that into court, it would have been thrown out as hearsay. And we also talked about the safety threats of the county, of the courthouse workers. In fact, the only threat on record that I've heard about is when this commissioner took his pistol into the county courthouse. Maybe we could solve the problem by just no commissioners taking pistols into the courthouse.
Mr. Attorney,
Seemed to be a lot.
I'm gonna stop your little shenanigan you're doing here. We had a hearing on this last week. Their last meeting. You weren't here to speak about it. We'll be speaking about this again. Now, you brought your information to this board under unscheduled public hearing. There's nothing we can do about your little comments. I know you did your freedom of information on me. I hope you got all the information you needed.
Got none of it.
If you need any more, we'll be more than happy to supply it to you.
Any would be more than none.
Now, I found out something that's very interesting, too. Are you her brother?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make that clear, because all of you guys on your little blogs out there playing your little games, you forget the facts that there's a $14,000 electric bill that runs in that building every year, every month, that cost us, our jail only runs $12,000. Why? Because the building is so out of date, out of this. I'm not here to argue with you today.
But you are arguing with me today.
I would love
What
to
I would like
have
to
you
know-
come down to our meeting.
I have one question for you. Are you interrupting my right of free speech at this very moment by not letting me finish? Yes or no?
Your free speech is, the unscheduled communication is to a
You
subject.
might want to read that.
Yeah, read it again.
No, what they just gave you.
Yeah, your free speech is this. Unscheduled communication is to bring up things that couldn't be talked about on the agenda. This was already spoken about. It'll come up again. At that time, please bring your information back so we can invoke it. And if you haven't got any of my stuff on my emails and stuff on this, then we'll make sure you get it. I have no problem giving you everything. You don't even have to go through the freedom of information. Just ask me. I'll show you everything I'm doing on it. Because I didn't just make this up. It's not something I'm going, I want to raise taxes to do this. But that's what you're insinuating in your freedom of speech. Well, you have a right to speak when the format is there. It's not here today. Today is, did you have a concern about what I hear, us raising the 1/8 of 1% tax? Today it was on the agenda, but I took it off because we have some new information that came in that this may not even work. So there will be other hearings, and I would encourage you to come to those and give your input, full input, take as much time as you need. But today, we have 47 items, and if you're just here to vent, that's not what we're here for. If you have a concern about the 1/8 gross receipts, I promise you there'll be another place, another forum where you can come and have your say at that day. And then all the judges and everyone who weren't here today would have an opportunity to rebut what you have to say.
I haven't spoken for 3 minutes. I'm asking you a simple question. Have you cut off my 3 minutes of speech in the Open Meetings Act?
Where do you get 3 minutes? I didn't even put a time limit on this.
Oh, okay. Well, that's even more the better. Are you going to allow me to finish my statement? Yes or
Just
no?
going to bring up some new information. Are you concerned about the 1/8 tax?
I'm going to be finishing my speech.
You know what? Just because you're one of these bloggers that love to go out and just destroy people behind the
I
scenes.
don't have the First Amendment.
Go ahead and do it. Go ahead and finish your speech so you can get all your fun here, and we'll take up everybody else's time so that we can then move on. Go ahead, finish.
I thank Sheriff House for that. From whence it came. Let's see. Start where I left off. So it's probably a minute and a half at the most. If that were tried in any of the courts, it would be thrown out as hearsay. In fact, the only record that I have heard about is when one commissioner took his pistol in there and he received help legally, and we still don't know the disposition of that case. In the past, we've seen a new animal shelter proposed to save money and a new annex that has a horrible smell when it rains. Currently, that same commissioner is under investigation by the Attorney General's office for offering the full-time county attorney job to the son of the lands commissioner while taking a job himself with the lands commission. Something is wrong with this moral compass, and that is how it connects to this $35 million upcoming project. We hear of this $30 million judiciary campus to be offered to us by a system by a system that had one former commission working on it, which was Mr. Harrell, and he said that he had been working on it for a couple of years, and no records were available from him. There were a couple from Mrs. Heltner about when she had gone over there, but there's no record of anybody going over there and doing inspections and things which are being claimed here. Maybe there's records found somewhere else. Last week, the former commission spoke as though he were an expert on this because he brought with him two workers from White Sands Construction, probably very great men. But that was oddly the same company that fixed the annex for well over $750. And when this commissioner spoke the very first time, and it was on the video, he says, he was just pumped about it. He says, when we do this, let's not go to Phoenix or Denver or Dallas. Let's keep it local. Spread the wealth around. Those are the exact same words Barack Obama said to Joe the plumber. You can vote as you will, but it's not honest to say that you hold true to the values of the Republican Party. You are a tax and spend liberal, and no one voted for that.
Are you through?
No. And finally, looking at the Albuquerque Journal and the phone call I got Monday from the Attorney General, your case with the Attorney General is not over. You're still under investigation.
Big deal. When they come and when the Attorney General calls me and tells me I've done something wrong, I'll be concerned. When you tell me I've done something wrong, drop dead. I don't care what you think.
And you're displaying the exact type of thing that nobody wants to see from their county commissioner. You're acting like you're smarter than people, and I know a high school education can take you far in this world, but the fact that you're sitting up there with a gavel and telling people to drop dead, you're wrong. This wasn't personal. These were your
challenge me
actions.
face to face, Mister, I'll stand with you toe to toe.
Are you challenging me to a physical fight?
I have done nothing wrong
I don't get you.
in my seat. If the Attorney General thinks I've done something wrong, he needs to call me. He has not talked to me, hasn't asked me a question. I know you guys have got Diana Martwood on it. I know you've got all the documents. Guess what? I could work for anyone in this state I want to work for except the county. And Mr. Dunn, his son, was already working for us. Get your story straight.
You were offering to give Mr. Bryant's job.
For him to step in temporarily till we replace the attorney. I'm not going to reopen that can of worms again.
Well, I just did. That's my right. And you can't just move forward on something just because you say so.
This is unscheduled communication. It doesn't have we can't make any decisions on it today. So if you have any other information you'd like us to know about that's so prudent that we have to know and we can't do it on another meeting where we actually have it on the agenda, then I think you are through.
Well, let me finally say that you came dangerously close to violating my First Amendment rights, and the fact that your service leaves something to desire. You are still under investigation by the Attorney General, and you don't care about that. Tells volumes. It may be the state police, the people you see next. It may not be a letter from the Attorney General. So I think under all these circumstances, You're not serving your people. I call on you to resign right now.
Is that all your unscheduled communication you have for us today?
Yeah, I'm going to go spread the wealth around a little bit now.
Well, you're spreading something around. I'll guarantee you.
It's called the truth.
Yeah, right.